No? Salamat po. Secretary Carlos Dominguez III, Secretary Ramon Lopez, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Mr. George Barcelon, Mr. Angelito Colonna, Ambassador Benedicto Yuico, Mr. Jose Maria Concepcion, participants of the 42nd Philippine Business Conference and Expo concluding ceremony. My fellow workers in government, my beloved countrymen, I do not prepare speeches. I would rather just go ahead with the environment. But from the judging of the crowd, apart from the campaign days, this is the biggest crowd so far that I have addressed. And what is really very pleasing is that all of you have money. Excuse me. I am not into the big league. I am just an ordinary Filipino residing somewhere in Mindanao. My city is Davao City, in the midst of a not so peaceful island. And we are doing our best really to make it business friendly if we talk about money. Mindanao holds a great promise in agriculture. Problem is it is beset with the remnants of the rebellion of the yesteryears. There's still a great feeling of nationalism amongst the Muslim population. And there is always the hurt over the centuries, the injustice committed against the Moro people. So in terms of money and agriculture, we talked to Mindanao, and we are trying our best really to come up with something. I have talked to the communists, and I would like to thank Norway. They are now in Oslo. The communists and the government panel are talking there, and I would like to thank the government of Norway for its good offices in these talks. I have talked to Murad, the leader of the MILF, one of the bigger factions in the secessionist movement. And despite the fact that the last time we were considering the BBL, Murad threatened to go to war if there is no BBL. By the grace of God, we were able to talk to him and said that you might want to postpone the rebellion, the war, because there is still enough time for us to talk about peace. And so with Normiswari of the MNLF, practically this is really the picture of what is in Mindanao and the rest of the country. I expect a successful talks with the Communist Party, and that is why the soldiers of the Republic are freed of the war fronts here vis-a-vis with the communists, the New People's Army. So I was able to move my troops to Mindanao, and that resulted really in a firefight until now, and also the reason why there was that blast in Davao City. It has always tit for tat for them, and because they are losing heavily because of the concentration of the troops that I have deployed from other areas. Wala nang NPA. At least there is no fighting right now. And because they are suffering heavy losses, there's always a time for retaliation and everything. But I said we are insisting, but this is really how it looks. I have talked to the major fronts. The problem is there is a sector in Mindanao which until now I cannot convince to talk to us. Why? They are the scholars, and scholars do not carry guns. There are a lot of them, and in some places in Mindanao, plenty. We cannot do anything punitive for the simple reason that they are into the religious activity. And in this country, freedom of religion to practice one is always sacred. It's embedded in the Constitution, and it goes for all religions. Now, there are a lot of them called the tabliks, and they're very good, and they're straightforward. And nothing is wrong with that if you trace history. They would be something like the Knights of Columbus for the Catholic Church. So ito yun sila, they go around preaching. And for the reason that they are preaching really what is historical and true is something which is hard to overcome. In 1521, when Magellan landed somewhere in Leyte, bringing with him imperialism, the flag of Spain, the religion, plus the cannons and the gunpowders. So they were able to conquer almost half the Visayas because it's separate. It's not a contiguous thing. It's separated by islands up to Luzon. So, but that is history. For us, it's history. But the problem is they had a good look at Mindanao. Ever since maybe God created the planet, it has all been situated below the typhoon belt. So everyone until now, pati tayo, all from us, look at Mindanao with a great promise for agriculture. And we can plant and grow, and we can harvest aplenty, were it not for the wherewithals, the dynamics going on. And so if we can only find a peaceful compromise, I think that would have solved a great deal of our problems about food sufficiency and even the promise of export. I'm glad. I'd like to thank China for opening its doors again to the pineapple and the banana industry. Salamat po. Now, that as a predicate is something which I'd like to begin my simple story. You know, I'm said I'm not into the big league. I had failing grades in economics when I was in high school and college. It never was never interested in the graphs. It makes me dizzy to see the graphs going down and going up. I don't make any sense at all. Well, study just to pass. I mean, 75, 76. And I'm telling you the truth. I'm the classmate of Sonny Dominguez here. We're childhood friends, same neighborhood, same vicarious interest, lahat. And I was not able to finish in Ateneo because they threw me out. So, fine. And but he was the consistent top guy in our class, valedictorian always. So, he knows the problem. But I became a lawyer, and for 8 years I was, for a while I practiced law. Then I went on to become a prosecutor, and I was doing trial work in court for about 7 years. I believe in law and order. I hate criminals. Maybe the reason one of my years in the court. I hate drugs. I've seen so many lives destroyed and people wallowing in filth of money because of drugs, the drug lords. And I have seen so many cases fall in court because of corruption. Money bought judges, prosecutors, police submitting an alum instead of the tawas, instead of the real McCoy. They look alike. Shabu. And those are the things that I had to endure when I was a lawyer. When I became a mayor, if you just listen to me, this is my economics. This is my business. No big deals. I ran for mayor in 1988, and I stayed there for 23 years. Last, went on to become a congressman and a vice mayor to my daughter. I knew the problems of a city in a troubled place, and I just did my work. The native in me just simply went for simple rules. I said in my inaugural speech for the first time in 1988, I said, "You criminals, kidnappers, gun for hire, whether soldiers or civilians, or whatever animal you are, go out of the city or I will kill you." And I was very specific to those who are into drugs, and you are now destroying a generation of Filipinos. Go out, because I will kill you. And that was the rule. I do not have to go into specifics. But I saw my city grow or grew, and I said to the businessmen, and the Davaoenos would tell you this, I am not a business person. I have a limited field. About the only thing that I encountered about business was during the study of law, and it was legal accounting. At hirap ako ng subject na yan because I could not understand why when you spend debit 500, then you put it again, debit 500. There must be something wrong in the system. Why just you could just list down your expenses and your income? You do not have to worry about this hula baloo. And so even then, I was not really interested in business. But I was interested more in criminal law because I really wanted to be a lawyer and a criminal law. As a matter of fact, my dream was just to be appointed as a Sandigan Bayan. It's the criminal courts handling the cases of employees in government. Yun lang po. So the business, I said, I will take care of the environment. I told the late Jesus Ayala, he was one of the, who would call me every now and then. Ano sinabi ko, ganun lang. I will make the city peaceful. I will make corruption a past in the city. I was the first city to impose a 3-day limit of clearances, whether it is electrical, business, or whatever, 3 days or 72 hours. After that, you explain to me why it took you more than 72 hours to process a simple paper. That was the rule in Davao. Then I said, no corruption. So I will kill you. Not in the hyperbole, but maybe just out of some passion in it. It carries more of the passion, not really the literal. And Davao grew and grew and grew. And Davao, you can, except for the blast, which we expected because it was a retaliation thing, and to a certain extent it was a failure of intelligence. But Davao is now what it is because of the simple rules. I do not like corruption. I gave each department in this government now, in the national, 3 days, 1 month. 1 month. Then all the papers clearances, 3 days. From the presidency, I have yet to formulate the local instructions because local government officials are not under my control, but they are under my supervision according to the Constitution. So I cannot supplant or change the decision, but I can, put them in place by just requiring the many days. Considering the nuances of local governance, maybe I'd place them something like 4, 5 days, 1 week. Tapos na. At dito naman sa national, 1 month. And I said I assembled men who are known to me. The BIR, Billy Dulay, was my companion sa dormitoryo noon, sa YMCA. He was occupying a room and his roommate was Secretary Beliok. They were then students they were studying at Ateneo. Yasay and me were roommates. Yasay was studying at Padre Faura, but he was missing for quite a time because he is a fugitive. He was a criminal. But during the time of Marcos, he was being hunted, so he was able to escape to somewhere. But we occupied the same room. So there's 4 of us, and plenty others. Now, if I may just go to the side bit. Sabi kasi nila, why is this Duterte? He is appointing lahat ng cabinet. The cabinet members are all always kainuman, drinking partners, and kaibigan, and kakilala. But I'd like to tell you, I do not drink. I do not smoke. I do not womanize. I live a holy life. But I'll drink to that. When you begin to delude yourself, so much lies, it becomes the truth in your life. Well, sila lang kasi ang kaibigan ko. Those are the guys that I met. For example, Sunny and the rest of the cabinet members. They are the bright guys, really, whom I met when I was from Davao. I was studying here in school, law school. And those were the bright ones. Tugade. Tugade is, he's bright. He's the valedictorian of our class. Bright yan. And even Piñol. You might want to, Piñol is a farm land boy, but he graduated summa cum laude. All of them are really bright guys there. Briones, and I'm the only one who's 75. But unfortunately, I'm the boss. So that's like this. I cannot engage you in so many theories about economics and all. I must be very frank with you. I have a very limited dimension about economics. Though if I could be good if I put myself into it. I mean, if I were to read economic books right now, I just don't have the time. I can improve my dialogue with you, but I do not have the time. And so what I do say is that in this government, there will be no corruption. In this government, you know, it will be clean, as in clean, and this government will promise you law and order. When I launched my candidacy for the presidency, wala ko akong ni isang, not even a barangay captain in Luzon, except the province of Ilocos Norte and Lawag. I won there. Hanggang doon lang. But only because of certain ties. It will be a long story, but the tie that binds. Parang ganon. In the Visayas, how many provinces? 72. Not a single governor or congressman. In Mindanao, no governor except one, and only because she loves me and I love her. That's the parang equation. Who is she? You'll have to find out who she is. Parang, so wala akong bagahe. I have no baggage no debts to repay. Well, except Sunny Dominguez, I just learned that he mortgaged his hotel, Marco Polo. But I hope you recover on time. He's the brightest, he's the richest. That's the irony of life. I am the poorest performer, but I am the president. So make your choice. So yan lang po. No corruption. I want my country peaceful. I want my country like Davao, where you can go around, eat durian at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and nothing happens. I just want people courteous. Have you noticed Davao? I've always tell them, I do not want you smirking or snorting. Behave. I have the best police force. There's no checkpoint they're asking for money. I don't allow it. I simply would say, yeah, do what is right. You know what is right, just do it. You know what is wrong, so avoid it. Ganun lang yan eh. For the police, for the military, especially the police. So I fired, when I assumed office, I fired 6 generals. Yun ang hindi naintindihan ng Pilipino. At ng human rights. Remember at the first volley, there were many killed. Have you not taken into consideration that there were some military and police officers, generals at that, involved in the trade? Have you not really considered the cleansing, the purging process they had to do to save their necks? And at that time, there was already mention about me because I was very open. When I said, do not destroy my country. I repeated the mantra of Davao. Alam niya, do not do it because I will really kill you. And I said, do not do drugs, lalo na. The succeeding firefights, I must admit, was between the police and the criminals. But it was never the thing of the government at the outset, yung patayan. You wrap around plastics all over the body. Why would the police do that? Why would you waste your time? Well, simply shoot him in the head once and that's it. Well, because that's a form of torture. We do not do it. I will not also allow it. Torture is very odious to me. If you want to kill the guy, fire a single shot. Make your choice, head or heart. And maybe if you still are mad at him, his balls. then tama na. Leave it that way. Hindi amin nyo, hindi amin. So, succeeding, ang problema, they themselves are also, when you create intrigues, this guy, I would say just raid him, but release him, but tell him that it was this guy who, squealed on him. So you have to you have to be innovative. Let them kill first among themselves. And you go there into the arena to deliver the coup de grace. But we're still at it. Now, again, I would repeat, I will not allow my country to be destroyed. I will not allow my country to be, the next generation to be compromised. Baski yan ang gawin ko. And I will not allow corruption to destroy my government. Took me several months to campaign. You just don't throw away the political stock that I have built for myself. Tapos sisirain mo. Magpatayan tayo. Really. Do not destroy me. Because if you have no business except to make money, get out of government. Lahat yan. Without exception. Droga, it will continue. It will continue until the last drug lord and the last pusher is out of the streets. That is all. Killings, there will be killings. We choose to fight it out. This is a very simple instruction to the police and the military. Go out and hunt for them, arrest them, announce your authority if there is time. But if there is no time, then you have to ask him to surrender. Because if he does something overt, which you think will kill you as a peace officer, then kill the idiot. No problem with that with me. And that has been the order. And I said that I will kill you if you do drugs in this country. I will do it. And I don't give a shit. I will do it. If you destroy the next generation or compromise their future, I will do it. Period. United Nations, in the boundary of Texas and Mexico, New Mexico, and Mexico itself, in the drug war, 60,000 have already died. Me, I have 4 million drug addicts. When I was in Laos, I asked President Widodo, how many of your countrymen are into it? He estimates about 4 million. Then President Widodo asked me, how about you? I counted only the PDEA findings 2 years ago by General Santiago when he was the head of PDEA. He said to us, I was still mayor, there are now about 3 million addicts in this country. 3 years. And ang akin, my numbers, I ignored the findings and the surrenderies that you saw on TV by the hundreds of thousands. I did not include it in my statement. I said, maybe 3 million. But after our talk, I was about to sleep, and I was playing the numbers. Indonesia is a very big country. 2 great islands and 1 small, or 3. It has 240 million people in it. Then I was thinking of my country. It's about 7,000 islands, not contiguous. And there are about 1,004,000 people. 104 million rather. 100 million and 4. And I have, if I include now the guys that you saw on TV surrendering to the police, seeking treatment, it would equal also to 4 million. Tabla kami ni Widodo. So we're even a small nation and a big nation. So said, I have to do something about it. Right at the start. If that is the only achievement that I can make for my country, let me repeat my pledge. In this fight of corruption, drugs, criminality, I put at stake on the table my life, my honor, and the presidency itself. Never mind about impeachment. I don't give. I will not die if I do not complete the 6 years. You know what? I said, I want the presidency. Sans the money. All of you are witnesses. A little money given by some friends. Then the machinery was almost. PDP is now a great party. But at the time, it was moribund. It was only a party of Senator Pimentel and his son, the Senate President. But I won, and I said, there are 3 things which I kept on hammering. Attorney Lambino is here. He was with us all the time. Only 3. Sabi ko, I will fight corruption. And I am going to do it. Let me end. It's getting late. Let me end by saying, if I cut short of my presidency, if I'm ousted next year, that is part of my destiny as president, only for 1 year. If I get assassinated, then that is part of God's plan that you be there only for 2 years, 1 year, and you die. If I'm ousted, fine. Wala naman akong ginastos. I don't have to worry about the millions of loss. Wala akong pera eh. But I just kept on saying that, well, and in almost all of my campaigns, if you had followed me, I was the only one invoking the name of God. If by God's grace I will win the presidency, I will do this. If God would allow me a life longer, I would do this. I was the only one really. No, I am not into religiosity, but I believe that there is really somebody there. And my presidency was really a destiny. Even you guys, if you talk about it when I leave, alam ninyo, nobody expected me. I was number in the rating, number 3, number 4, number 3, number 4. So people with so much money never gave me money because I will not win. 3, 4, so I wasted money with this guy. When I was hitting 32 and they stayed there, the numbers stayed steady for 2 weeks. And when I was making my speech, meeting the Avance, I looked at the monitor of the drone, and that was the first time I whispered to my wife, maybe just maybe, because it was filled to the bins. Up to the Luneta ang crowd. And it was a huge crowd. And I said to my wife, maybe, I said, if God allows it, I will win the presidency. And I did. I got 15 million with a majority of 6 million nearest my rival. So I can only give you what God has commissioned me to do. He said, drop the corruption of your country because it will not move. Let business thrive, stop corruption, shorten the procedures for all, make it comfortable. I told everybody, I do not want Filipinos queuing under the heat of the sun or when it's raining. Cut that crap. You can do it. So now everybody is into online with the entry of DTI Ramon Lopez and Salilima. Rudy used to be the vice president of Globe. He's appointed DCIT for the new Pulabalo. I do not even know how to operate the touch thing. I still using the push and pull. That's really. So they would, I said, I would like to see maybe towards the 3rd or 4th, everything will be online. Now, I'd like to end this by saying, I said it was SW before now, Pulse Asia, came out with the rating. I'm not interested in the rating. I'm comfortable with 75. Just like, yeah, they are ambitious. So they said, what can you say about your rating? I said, 6. And one report said, why not 5? Eh, puto, gago, bagsak ako dyan. 6 na. But that's just a moderate. I do not go for stupendous. I'm not used to it, actually. I'm not used to luxury things. Not even watches. I do not wear. It's not because I'm a hypocrite. I simply, I'm not into it, actually. I'm more of just keeping my, going around the country. And whenever there is, I'm losing 2 policemen a day in the drug fight. At least 2, on the average, 2 policemen a day. And 1 or 2 military men. I have commissioned them to join the fight. So we will fight. I will not. International Court of Justice. Maybe you guys, if you can also tell your friends. I have criticized them. I'd like to explain why. My mouth. Early on, that thing about extrajudicial killing was really an issue against me, true or not, in Davao City. Because my opponent was the bright guy. He's now sick. I hope he dies immediately. Bakit mo sabihin buhay? So if he's your enemy, I'm dead. It was, Sunny is there to tell you the truth. Consistently, I have not lost an election, by the way. Since 1988, tuloy-tuloy na ho yun hanggang the presidency. Now, I'm not lost an election, but I've been very consistent in and the attacks made on you. Remember, if you care to go to revisit the campaign days, that issue of extrajudicial killing was not an issue against me. It became an issue and a garbage when some senators, for money, I don't have to mention their names, when I was hitting the ratings very high, then they began to unleash, to jettison that garbage there. So, but it was not really an issue. It was only when I was... So I think now that it was the same issue that was being used now by the NGOs and the country officer maybe of the Human Rights Commission, and a president and a State Department lady and the EU. Ganito yan eh. This is how it developed. They use now election, until now they're using it against me. Some of them may be true, some are not. But I was trying to explain that I said there is no crime at all committed by me when I say I will kill all the criminals. It is not a crime to threaten criminals with death. That's the reason why they would go and say we'd go to war because you are behaving this way. There is no law in the Philippines which says I have to go to jail because I said you threaten the next generation and the speaker would kill you. I was trying to explain all of these things, the nuances of the law, the dynamics, but nobody was listening until now. So, what is my best defense as a lawyer? I insult people. So when I began to say, shit, goddamn, so everybody was looking at me. Ngayon, you are now listening to me, but only to hear bad words. Oh, I'll give you more. Blah, 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 blah. Ngayon, puro complaint na sila. Sinabi ko sa inyo, this is the story. At least give me the right to be heard. I will makinig one by one. And besides, you'd never think of the diplomatic faux pas. This country is a member of the United Nations. I represent the sovereign authority. When I was mayor, you can attack me on the side. So I'm only just a mayor. But when I became, or now I am the president, at least be courteous. If you have a gripe or complaint against the Philippines, or personally sa akin, go to the United Nations, ventilate your gripe or your grievance, then ask for a motion that it be sent to the proper organ or agency under the United Nations. WTO, WHO, Human Rights, and all. UNICEF. Those are the bodies there, human rights. Then you ask somebody for a motion to send a rapporteur, then he will investigate me, or he will call for a public hearing. Then I respond, and you make a report, then that is the time that you put to task a sovereign nation. Nagkulang ang mga gago eh. Hindi pinag-aralan. Pati the soldier, the lawyers, EU. 7 idiots there, lawyers all. Sabi nila, this guy, this leader, has been heard threatening or intimidating with death criminals. Anak ka ng... That prompted me to write letters, and it is out. I invited President Obama, the Secretary of State, the United Nations, the Human Rights Commission, and the EU. Come here, investigate me. But give me also the right to be heard. So I will have to ask you questions after questioning me. Sige, takay dito. Paikutin ko kayo dito ng kamay ko and I'll play with you. I am very sure, they cannot be brighter than me. Maniwala kayo. paikutin kita. You know, I said, I've been a trial lawyer for 8 years. I will play with you in public. I will ask 5 questions that will humiliate you. And I will ask 10 questions for you to agree with me. Bantayan ninyan, it will be an spectacle. You better watch it all. Maganda yan. It will give you an entertainment. Akala siguro ng mga buang kasi, Pilipinas, small nation, well, maybe God give you the money, but we have the brains. Ang problema lang is I don't know what happened to this country, but I'm sure after this moment, with this crowd, after my assurance that there will be no fixing of cases, there will be no exemptions, nothing of the sort. Just do business, I will protect you, and if there is anybody maghumihingi sa inyo, tell me, do not give me your name. Just talk to Lopez and Dominguez there. Sabihin lang ninyo. Because I'm trying now to just shoot the breeze also with the guys there sa Malacanang. I will allow RPTV open to the public. After the news of the day, you can text. If you do not want to include your name, fine. Lagay mo lang. Bureau of Customs, example only. Bureau of Customs, Mr. Martin Santos asking for money. Right, so that the entire people of the Philippines will see it every morning. So I can assure you. I will call him immediately, explain. But I will also give him the right to answer. That's in keeping with fair play. He can answer with this text. But you can, anybody of you, pag may maghingi, even the clerk, even the security guard, text mo lang. Sabi mo lang, Mayor, dyan sa custom ka, may naghingi. Then I will. I have prepared a special bullet for him. And a special rifle. One that cannot penetrate all throughout. Yung lang. Enough for him to suffer. Barilin natin ang mga. Salamat po.